Have you ever heard of a place so dark, so filled with terror, that even the bravest dare not go near? Imagine walking through a quiet, lonely village, and suddenly, you hear a voice calling from deep within an abandoned well. It's the kind of voice that haunts you, lingers in your mind, and you can't shake it off. But what if that voice wasn't just a whisper of the wind? What if something much darker was lurking below the surface? Tonight, I will tell you the terrifying story of a haunted well in India, and how two farmers made a choice that would change their lives forever. Are you ready to hear the truth? It was the year 1979, in a small, sleepy village in India, surrounded by vast fields and tall, thick trees. Two farmers, Raghav and Shankar, were walking home after a long day's work in the fields. The sun was setting, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, and the air was cool, carrying the scent of earth and crops. The only sound was their footsteps crunching on the dry soil and the occasional rustling of leaves. As they walked, they passed an old, abandoned well that stood on the edge of the field. It had been there for as long as anyone could remember, but no one dared go near it. The villagers whispered that the well was cursed, that strange things had happened there many years ago, but no one truly believed it. That is, until the day they heard the voice. "Help me! Please, help me!" The voice was weak, trembling with fear, and came from deep inside the well. Raghav and Shankar froze. They looked at each other, confused and frightened. Who could be calling for help? The well was deep and dark, and no one lived around here for miles. Raghav, being the braver of the two, stepped forward. "I'll go," he said, his voice trembling but determined. "There might be someone trapped down there." Shankar grabbed his arm. "Don't be foolish, Raghav. It's just a trick. It's dangerous." But Raghav was already walking toward the edge, his heart pounding in his chest. He had heard the desperation in the voice. He couldn't just leave someone to suffer. "I'll be fine," Raghav said, and before Shankar could stop him, he climbed down the rope that was tied to the well. The darkness inside the well was suffocating. The air was thick, and every movement felt like it took forever. Raghav's eyes slowly adjusted to the dim light, and he finally reached the bottom. The well was filled with murky water, the surface barely visible in the shadows. He peered around, but there was no sign of the woman who had called for help. "Hello?" Raghav shouted, his voice echoing through the damp walls. "Where are you?" Then, he heard it again, the voice, closer this time. "I'm here, please, help me." Raghav's heart raced. He turned around, searching desperately for the source of the voice. And that's when he saw her, standing in the corner of the well, her face pale and gaunt, her eyes hollow and dark. She was dressed in white, her long hair dripping wet, and her arms were stretched out toward him. The sight of her sent a chill down his spine. But before he could move, she spoke again, her voice low and sorrowful. "You shouldn't have come." Suddenly, Raghav felt a cold grip on his arm. He screamed, trying to pull away, but the grip tightened. It felt like ice, freezing him in place. His heart was pounding in his chest, and for the first time in his life, Raghav was terrified. He turned to see Shankar standing at the edge of the well, looking down with wide, fearful eyes. But there was no time for words. Raghav's vision blurred, and the world seemed to spin as the woman pulled him deeper into the water, dragging him under. Shankar's scream echoed through the night as he desperately tried to pull Raghav up. But it was too late. The well swallowed him whole. The next day, the villagers searched the well, but Raghav was never found. The only thing they found was his torn shirt, caught on the rocks. But what they didn't know was that the well had a dark history, one that no one spoke of. Many years ago, a young woman named Lakshmi had lived in the village. She was known for her beauty, but she was also feared by many. Some believed she had powers, that she could curse people with just a glance. Lakshmi's husband, a cruel man, would often beat her, and one day, in a fit of rage, he pushed her into the well. She fell, but she didn't die. Instead, she survived, her body twisted and broken, her spirit full of anger and resentment. Over the years, Lakshmi's ghost haunted the well, calling out to those who dared come close. Her voice, so soft and innocent, lured people in, only to drag them down to the depths with her, never to return. It was said that the only way to free her soul was for someone to dive into the well willingly, to take her place and end the curse. But no one had ever been brave enough to do so, until Raghav. Now, his soul was trapped in the well, forever cursed to wander in darkness, just like Lakshmi. And every year, on the night of the full moon, her voice would call out again, waiting for the next soul to take Raghav's place. What do you think? Do you believe in the curse of haunted wells? Would you have been brave enough to dive in to help, or would you have run away like Shankar? Let me know in the comments below if you've ever encountered something like this, or if you'd ever dare to visit a haunted place like the one in this story.